Okay, the assignment. Okay, so number one, we have 15x to the power 2 minus 30x equals 0. So x to the second, there's two answers. Two answers we need to label A, B. There is no C. 0 doesn't count. So if it's A and B, we make sure everything's lined up on one side, which it is, and we just do the GCF, and that gets us the two factors we need. Okay, 15 and 30 are both in the 15th row, and then you would put an x, because there is no, that has an x right there. Then we go up and divide by 15x. That gives me 1x minus 2. So F1, F2. Okay. So 15x could equal 0, or 1x minus 2 could equal 0. So divide by 15, 0 divided by anything, 0. Add 2 to both sides, 1x is 2, so 0 and 2. Okay, number 2, we have x to the second minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So there's two answers to the problem. So we have an A, we have a B, we have a C. Everything's lined up where it's supposed to be. Okay. Which is a good thing. So ABC, first I apply the discriminant. It's b to the second, the square root, and then b to the second minus 4 times a times c. You can just do that on a Google calculator. Okay, all you do is hit square root down there next to the 1, double the parentheses up, then b is negative 3, so I put negative 3, close, raised to the power of 2, and then I always subtract a factor of 4. And the a factor is 1, the c is negative 18. Put it in on a calculator, it speeds this up a lot. Okay, so I got 9. Okay, so I got a whole number, so I want to try to factor it. So ABC, we see if we have a GCF, and then we do our table. So GCF 1, 3, and 18 would just be 1, and that C means I can't do an X, so that's not worth it. So 1 times negative 18, A times C, that'd be negative 18. So it's negative, so it's positive times negative. We're adding to try to get to negative 3. Divide by 1, 18. Nope. Divide by 2, get 9. Nope. Divide by 3, you get 6. Bingo. Okay. Now my A is 1, which is good. I can get rid of it and just put it into 2 parentheses. Okay. X times X is X squared, and then the rest of this crap is plus 3 minus 6. F1, F2. So X plus 3 could equal 0, or X minus 6 could equal 0. So minus 3, you get negative 3. Plus 6, you get 6. Negative 3, positive 6. Okay, number 3. We have 6x to the power of 2 minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. So we have two answers. Okay. And we have an ABC again. Okay. So pretty much the same process as last problem. B squared minus 4AC. So B is negative 5. Remember, raise that to the second. And I subtract the factor of 4, factor of 6, and the factor of negative 6. Okay, I got 13, so again, that means I want to do it exactly like I did the last problem. Okay, 6, 5, and 6 are just in the one row, and the C means no X. Okay, so 6 times negative 6, that would be negative 36. So it's a negative, so I'm thinking positive times negative. And we want to add to try to get to negative 5. So 1 and 36, nope. Divide by 2, you get 18. Nope. 36 divided by 3 is 12. That's negative 9. 36 divided by 4 is 9. Right there, that's your negative 5. And it's the right signs too. But unlike the last problem, the A does not have a 1. The A is a 6. So you have to account for the 6 by making your 2 sets of parentheses, lining up your 6, and then you can do the x plus 4, x minus 9. Now we're going to divide in each one of these because 6 and 4 are both in the second row. So we divide by 2, and that's 3x plus 2, and that's your F1. Now 6 and 9 are both in the third row, so we divide by 3, and that's 2x minus 3. That's your F2. Okay, there was no GCF, so those are the two factors. So 3x plus 2 could equal 0. So I'm minus 2. I got negative 2 divided by 3, and that would be negative 2/3. Then 2x minus 3 could equal 0. So I add 3, gives you 3. Divide by 2, just leave that 3 over 2. Negative 2/3 and positive 3 over 2. Okay, next one, number 4. 5x second minus 5 equals 10. So there are 2 answers. But you get a little break here. This is a quick one because you have A and you don't have any B's. These are both C's. Now, who cares what's over there? On an AC, you add the 5, then divide by that 5, and then square root. These are the easiest type of problems. It doesn't matter if there's not a 0 over there. It's who cares? I just need to get the x squared by itself by adding, then dividing, then finding the square root of the number 3. Okay? Okay, so square root 3, 1.73. That could be the positive or the negative version of 1.73. Either one's fine. Okay, number 5. You have x to the power of 2 minus 6x plus 3 equals 0. So again, we have an A, a B, and a C. So the 0's there. So now I go to the discriminant formula. Okay, so square root, double your parentheses. Now B is negative 6. Then I subtract 4. A is 1 and C is 3. Okay, 4.90, okay? So again, that means a quadrat. Don't mess around with the boxes. You go to the quadrat formula because a T-chart will never work. Opposite of B, plus or minus the square root. That means that expression is prime. It cannot be rewritten into 2 parentheses. B squared minus 4AC. B squared minus 4AC over 2A over 2A. So the opposite of B, minus 6, so it'd be plus 6. Dude, we already had the square root. We already know that that's 4.90. Okay? I just did it. And then the A is 1. Okay? 2 times 1 is 2. So what do we have out of this? Well, you got a 6. You got 4.90. And then 2 on bottom. Okay, so we take 6 plus 4.90, click equals before you divide by 2. Don't try to do both operations in the same line. Okay, for 5.45, then 6 minus 4.90 divided by 2, 0.55. Okay, number 6. Okay, we have 3 parentheses x plus 5 to the second equals 27. So there's 2 answers, but I can't, the parentheses is a totally different problem. I can't do the ABC. Now, you can't multiply the 3 because there's this power here that blocks you from being able to do the rainbows, the distribution, whatever you want to call it. So we replace that expression with the q, 3q to the second. Always raise it to the second. It's got a 3 in front and it equals 27. Then I make a table off this side because I'm going to bring back the x plus 5. Why is there two sides? Well, we'll see that here in a second. We divide by 3. Gives me 9. And the square root of 9 is 3, but it could be positive or negative 3. That's why there's two sides. So 3, negative 3. So I minus the 5. X is negative 2. Minus the 5. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Okay, number 7, we have 2x to the power of 3 minus 8x equals 0. Okay, game change now. Now there's 3 answers. So when there's 3 answers, here's what we need to do. Do we have x third? Yeah, that's why there's 3 answers. Do you have x second? No, we don't. Do you have x? Yes. Do you have a constant? No, you don't. You don't count 0. Okay, so that's 2 terms. 2 terms, and you got to find 3 answers, 2 terms. Again, the ABC is not going to work. That only works on the x squared ones. The x cubed ones count the terms. If there's 2, you do a GCF. And then you see if the parentheses here, whatever we have here, is a difference of perfect squares, difference of squares. So you make 2 parentheses, one is plus, one is minus. But let's go back up here. 2 and 8, GCF's 2, and we take an x, okay? Okay, so that's going to be 1x to the second minus 4. Remember, x third divided by x is x to the second. Now, is this a difference of perfect squares? Well, we don't need the 1. Okay, if it's a 1, we don't need it. Well, x to the second is x. Then my negative 4 would be positive, negative, and 4 is 2 times 2, so yes. And drop that 2x down beside it, and you have your 3 factors that are going to get us the answers. F1, F2, F3. So 2x equals 0, divide by 2, you get 0. X plus 2 could equal 0, minus your 2, you get negative 2. And x minus 2 could equal 0. You get 2. Okay, 0, negative 2, and 2. Okay, number 8. You have x to the power of 3 minus 4x to the power of 2 minus 4x plus 16 equals 0. Okay, 3 answers again. So when there's 3 answers, you need to make a list of what you have. The ABC is not going to work. So we have x third. Do we have x second? Yeah. Do we have x? Yep. Do we have a constant? Yeah, it's 16. Remember, constant means it doesn't have a letter. So that is 4 terms. Well, how do you do 4 terms? Well, you apply the grouping method. Okay, of factoring. So parentheses plus parentheses. Then the same darn thing with lines outside, and those are GCF lines. Then 1 parentheses, 1 line, and a little tiny parentheses on the line. And that's where we'll have our factors to solve it. That'll simplify it enough where we can get the answers. So you have 1x to the third minus 4x to the second. And then we have negative 4x plus 16. Now, 1 and 4 is a 1, but we have x second right there. So we need to divide by 1x to the second. That becomes 1x minus 4. Now here we need a negative because there's a negative on the first thing. Whenever there's a negative at the beginning, you need to put a negative in here. Okay, 4 and 16 on that table, those are both in the 4th row. But you can't do an x because that 16 at the end doesn't have x. So I go divide by negative 4. So that's 1x. Now positive 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. And sure enough, those parentheses match up. 1x minus 4. Now what do we put in here? Well, we put the 1x to the second with that negative 4. A lot of 4's here. Now we know enough to solve. We can set that equal to 0. Add 4. You can just knock off the 1. So x equals 4. And then here, we just got to remember to square root. So we add 4. So that is 4. You don't need the 1. And then find the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So it could be 2 or negative 2. Okay. Okay, now story problems. A soccer ball is kicked off the ground with an initial height of 40 feet per second. After how many seconds does it land on the ground? So we're finding the seconds. We've done problems like these before. So you have feet and seconds highlighted. X is your seconds, Y is your feet. So per feet per second. Feet per second is 40, 40x. But, dude, a ball doesn't go in a line. It goes up, it comes down. It's pulled down by the force of gravity, which in algebra we represent gravity with negative 16x to the power of 2. Okay? Now, you want to mark where the ball begins. Well, it's kicked off the ground, so it begins at 0 feet. Okay? And you also want to mark where it ends at. Okay? Well, it lands back on the ground, so that's 0 feet. Because those are important. You want that, this to make your equation. So to write the equation, we start with our gravity, negative 16x squared. Then our x would be 40. Then, if this is 0 at the beginning, if that's 0, then you go straight to your equals. Now, it lands at 0, so we put 0 there. That's the landing, okay? So there's two answers. We got A, we got B, so that just means I have to do the GCF. Now you're going to need a negative, because that 16 is always negative. Now if you look at your chart, 16 and 40 are in the 8th row. They wouldn't be in the 16th row, they'd be in the 8th row, and that B also has X, so we want to be able to cross that out. So it's going to be 2x minus 5. F1, F2, okay? So negative 8x could equal 0, 2x minus 5 could equal 0. So divide by negative 8, you get 0. Plus 5, that equals 5, divided by 2. You can put 5 over 2. Now over here you want to put the 5 over 2. You might want to divide that at the end. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So it's 5 over 2 or 2.5, 2.5 seconds. Okay, number 10. A baseball is hit into the air at an initial height of 4 feet with a velocity of 30 feet per second. For how many seconds is it in the air? So seconds equals, okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, I got that. I need to rearrange some stuff here. I screwed that up. Darn it. Okay. Okay, never mind. Here's a problem, number 10. A soccer goalie throws a ball into the air at an initial height of 8 feet and an initial velocity of 28 feet per second. How many seconds is it land on the ground? So seconds. So we got feet, we got seconds. X is seconds, Y is feet. So feet per second, looks like we got 28x. Okay, remember, gravity pulls it back down, so gravity is negative 16x squared. Now, that ball starts not at 0, though. It starts at 8 feet, okay? And it lands on the ground. So that's a game changer in the equation. We have our negative 16x to the second plus 28x. Now we have to add the 8 because it starts there and then equals the 0. Okay. So now there's 3, now you got A, B, and C to deal with. Okay. So A, B, C, first we apply the discriminant formula. Okay, so calculator. So square root. B is 28. Raise it to the second. Subtract 4. And A is negative 16. Oops. And C is 8. Okay, I got 36, so that means that this will be able to be factored. So GCF, and then the table. Okay, we need negative in the GCF. Now if you look at 16, 28, and 8, those are all in the 4th row. But that C means I can't take an X, but I still want to go up and divide by negative 4. So the A now is going to be 4x to the second. 28 divided by negative 4 is negative 7x, that's my new B, and 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2, that's a C. Now I factor that trinomial. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, so positive negative, and I find it, and I'm trying to add to get to negative 7. So if I divide 8 by 1, I get 8, bingo. Now the A is not 16 anymore, it's 4 now, okay? So 4 means I'm going to need 2 sets. Lead off with your 4, whatever the A is, and then x plus the 1, x minus the 8. And divide those down. That would stay the same. This can divide by 4. That's F2. Now that GCF of negative 4, you can put it down there, but I don't use it to solve. It's not important. So 4x plus 1 equals 0. 1x minus 2 equals 0. So minus 1, you get negative 1. So negative 1/4 would be my first answer. And the other one, 2 would be your second, okay? Use 2 as your legitimate answer. Okay, then the last one. Hopefully my battery doesn't die. The picture is 22 by 20 inches. So you should probably draw the shape, 22 by 20. You're going to draw a frame around the picture, okay? This creates an area of 840 square inches. Find the width of the frame. So we're finding the number of inches. So this is area, so length times width equals area. Now we know the area in this problem is 840, but we don't really know what the length and the width of the picture with the frame are. So for the length, I get that out of there. Measure the length. You know the middle piece is 22, but you have these x's because they're unknown. So that's 2x plus 22. And then this is going to be 2x plus 20. Now, before you label the ABC, you have to multiply it out. Okay, so distribute 2x to 2x, 2x to 20, 22 to 2x, and 22 to 20. So it's 4x to the second. Remember, x times x is x to the second. 2 times 20 is 40 with an x. 22 times 2 is 44 with an x. So these two will be added, and then that's 440. So you have 4x to the second plus 84x, that's what that adds to, plus 440 equals 840. Okay, so you have two answers. Okay. And you have A, you got B, you got C, you got two C's. So move that 840 over. So it's with the rest of it. So you have 4x to the second as A plus 84x as B minus 400, that's C, equals 0. Okay, apply the discriminant formula. Okay, so B is 84. Again, the whole point of me doing what I'm doing now to see if that t-chart's even going to work, or if I just go to the quadratic formula. A is 4, and then you have the 4, and then A is 4, and C is negative 400. Okay, 116, it's whole number, so we want to go with the t-chart. So GCF and the table. Okay, 484 and 400. Now if you look at your table, the fourth row, 4 is here, 84 is here, 400 would eventually be there, okay? Because 4, yeah, it would. So 4, you wouldn't do an x, you just go divide by 4. We end up with 1x to the second plus 21x minus 100. Okay, ABC, it's 100 negative, so that'd be positive negative. Okay, remember, go from here. And we're adding to try to get to plus 21. 100, nope. Divide by 2, you get 50, nope. 100 divided by 3 is decimal, 100 divided by 4 is 25, okay. Okay, so that adds to negative 21, so we stop there. We just need to put plus and minus. Now my A, here's the last A I have. Don't look up there. You've relabeled the A as 1. So if it's 1, you get rid of it, and that's good because then I can just make 2 parentheses with x, because that's x squared, x, and the rest of that crap we write as minus 4 plus 25. Now we did have the GCF of 4, but that doesn't have an x, so it's really not important. So x minus 4 could equal 0 in that case. X would be 4. X plus 25 equals 0. In that case, x would be negative 25, but we don't really care about the negative answer in a story problem. 4 inches would be the answer.